concerning the
I had the opportunity to speak with political observer Catherine Fleming Bruce about the recent election and all the problems with it.
All right. The recent Supreme Court decision with regard to the primary and eliminating more than 200 candidates from the primary ballot had impacts on communities, on candidates, on the democratic process, and on choice for citizens throughout South Carolina. I worked observing this. I have a Facebook website called Good Governance where we talk about those issues in South Carolina. And there was a lot of concern about people understanding why this happened, people having faith in the governance process, that the election commission, the political parties, and the candidates themselves, were they all doing the right thing? Was the reason for the decision properly, were people properly informed? So those are concerns with regard to governance. I also was a poll manager this year during the primaries at one of the polling places. And in the process of setting up for that, I discovered that over 30 of the precincts and wards in Richland County were not open. And I discovered this by accident when I went down because usually I vote absentee so that I can go down to the polls and work. And I discovered that my precinct was closed because we did not have an opposition candidate. So this was the case for 39 of these. I understand over 300 precincts and polling places around South Carolina were closed. Over 400,000 South Carolinians were not able to vote because of those decisions. So the choices that we had were limited, and people were unsure about whether their precinct was open, who they would be voting for, who would be on the ballot. The people who came in to vote were uncertain. Some of them would stick their heads in the door and say, well, are you open? How many people? They didn't know. So even people that many of us expected to understand and be kind of comfortable with the process and the political situation, they were a little befuddled by what was happening. So it's a blow to the process and to the community from that standpoint. But ultimately, I think it's a situation that has to be remedied by the legislature. When you have these conflicting laws, they have to be resolved, and they can't be resolved by the Supreme Court. The state Supreme Court simply said, well, this is what the law says. The legislature will have to go back and look at the online requirements and the paper filing requirement and figure out how to make that make sense so that the candidates know what to do, the parties know what to do, and the public feels like, okay, we know what's happening, and we can go down, we have our choices, and we can vote.